She's one of the top American distance runners of the mid 2000s, a 7-time All American collegiate runner, 2-time Olympian, an author, a podcaster, an Emmy Award winning sports commentator, a wife, a mom, an advocate against doping and abuse within elite running, and one of the nicest, most down to earth people you'll ever meet. Most importantly, though, she is my number one personal favorite runner of all time. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, and on this day in 1978, Kara Goucher was born in Queens, New York. First, I'll give y'all an extremely high-level summary of Kara's background leading up to her professional career, do a quick top 5 countdown of the reasons Kara is my fave, and then I'll sit down with Kara herself to talk about motherhood, Minnesota, and the advice she'd give her younger self. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and you are listening to Today in Running History. Today's episode is sponsored by My Race Tats, the temporary tattoos with motivational sayings that I love to wear during races. I ran 2 races during the month of June, the Texas Sun Showdown Half Marathon here in San Antonio and the Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota, and I wore My Race Tats for both. I was already expecting the half marathon to be hot and humid since I live here, and I know firsthand that our summers are brutal. So the mantra that I chose for that race was forward is a pace. Grandma's Marathon was my goal race, so the tattoo I chose for that one was I am race ready. Both races were tough, and I finished each absolutely drenched in sweat. But the My Race tats I wore on my inner wrist stayed put the entire time, no matter how wet and gross I got or how long I was out on the course. Listeners of Today in Running History can save 20% off your purchase of My Race Tats using my code Hillary at checkout or by clicking on the link that I will go ahead and include in the episode description. Okay, let's talk about Kara Goucher. She was born Kara Goucher on this day 47 years ago in Queens. After her dad was killed by a drunk driver just before Kara turned 4, she and her sisters moved with their mom to Duluth, Minnesota to be closer to her maternal grandparents. Her grandpa was a lifelong runner, and it was him who introduced Kara to the sport. And it turns out she's pretty good at it. Her successful career as a middle and high school runner in Duluth led to a spot on the powerhouse D1 cross country and track teams at the University of Colorado at Boulder. In addition to being a national champion athlete for the Buffaloes, UC Boulder was also where she met teammate Adam Goucher, who she married in 2000. Kara overcame post-collegiate injuries to win silver in the 10,000 meters at the World Championships in both 2007 and 2008, set the fastest women's half marathon time for 2007, made the 2008 U.S. Olympic team in both the 5,000 and 10,000 meters. She finished 3rd at the 2008 New York City Marathon, which marked her first race at that distance. The following year, she placed 3rd at the Boston Marathon. In 2010, she and Adam became parents to their son, Colt, and in 2012, Kara made her 2nd Olympic team, this time in the marathon. As a San Antonian who ran the Rock and Roll San Antonio half and full marathons a total of 10 times, I also want to point out that Kara won the 2015 Rock and Roll San Antonio half marathon with a time of 1:11:10. This was my first postpartum half marathon, and I finished less than an hour behind her in 2:04:10. I like to think that she could feel me breathing down her neck, and that's what gave her the edge to win that day. Now, I could spend this entire episode talking about all the highlights in Kara's life and career, but it would end up being like a 9-hour episode, and all of y'all would end up fast forwarding to the interview anyway. So instead, I highly recommend checking out her book, The Longest Race: Inside the Secret World of Abuse, Doping, and Deception on Nike's Elite Running Team. I'm going to include a link to purchase that book in the description of this episode, as well as one for her other book, Stronger, which is a really cool interactive guide for gaining confidence in your own running, no matter what level you run. Something that Kara and her co-host Des Linden often do in their podcast, Nobody Asked Us, is a top 5 list of whatever awesome stuff happened in the world of running and otherwise since their last episode. So, in honor of that, I am going to present my own top 5 list titled The Top 5 Reasons Why Kara Goucher is My Absolute Favorite Runner of All Time. 1. She has balls or guts or whatever you want to say that she is unafraid to stand up for what matters to her. While a professional runner for Nike under Alberto Salazar, Kara experienced firsthand a decidedly unglamorous side of professional sports where much goes on that is unethical at best and illegal at worst, especially for female athletes. In the book that I mentioned a minute ago, The Longest Race, she exposes that abuse, and in doing so, challenged perhaps the best known sports brand in the entire world. She continues to be a staunch advocate against doping and sexual abuse and exploitation in sports and for the fair treatment of all professional athletes. 2. She is loyal as hell. She's been with the clothing brand Oiselle for over a decade, first as a sponsored athlete and now as an athlete advisor. Kara has always been very vocal in how important this woman-owned company is to her, and any contracts she has gotten with shoe sponsors over the years must always allow her to continue to work with Oiselle. 3. She maintains her perspective on what's really important. As a mom, Kara strikes the perfect balance of encouraging her son's participation in the sport while remaining adamant that he not do too much too soon and risk getting burned out. As someone who started running at a young age myself, the daughter of a marathon runner and cross-country and track coach, the reason why I am still running decades later is because he always made sure that it was fun. Kara does the same, and I firmly believe that she's setting Colt up for a lifelong relationship with the sport, which is much more important than any medals or accolades he could rack up as a young runner. 4. Being a lifelong athlete is more important to her than quitting while she's ahead. A few years ago, Kara was diagnosed with dystonia, a movement disorder that causes muscle spasms and that has completely changed her ability to run at an elite level. Throwing in the towel never occurred to Kara. Instead, she has adjusted her running goals to accommodate her diagnosis, running 5Ks instead of marathons, for example, and setting time goals that challenge her today rather than focusing on setting all-time PRs. And 5, her podcast with fellow 40-something distance runner and author Des Linden is fantastic and a huge inspiration to me as I start my own podcast. They cover all sorts of things within the world of running, and they do so in a manner that is professional, respectful, and absolutely hilarious. Now, without further ado, I am thrilled to welcome Kara Goucher to Today in Running History. All right, I am in Duluth, Minnesota with Kara Goucher, the Emmy-winning broadcaster.
That's right.
And we will be talking about July 9th, 1978.
Yep.
I'm sure you have really vivid memories of that day.
Very vivid.
And you are a Queens native.
I am, yeah.
How do you feel when you go back to New York City? Running the New York City, do you feel any connection to the city?
I do. You know, like I was born there. I left when I was 4 after my dad died, but I do still feel a connection. And when I ran my first marathon ever was in New York, and people were calling me the Queens girl. And for me, it was really healing because like I don't know that part of my life. So even though I don't know anything about Queens, but I love you guys and I feel appreciated by it.
That's awesome. Speaking of hometowns, we are in your hometown.
Yes.
So I have a feeling this feels a little bit more like coming home.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 4 and I lived here my whole life after that till I went to college and like right up the hill here. So I grew up being around Grandma's Marathon, you know, grew up around running here. Yeah.
And you started your running career here. You've been running since pretty much childhood.
Yeah.
So what is from races that you ran in Minnesota, what is your most vivid memory or your fondest memory for ones that are actually in this area?
Definitely my favorite memory is in 2012. I ran the half marathon here at Grandma's Marathon, the Gary Brooklyn half. And it was my prep race for the Olympic Games. And this, you know, the race started at like 6:40 a.m. And the streets were lined with people. People were like yelling, "My son was in chemistry with you," or "I taught you in math." And a bunch of my high school friends' parents were at the finish line. My grandparents were there. And it was just such an awesome experience. It's actually my favorite race I've ever run.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So not even just.
No, it's definitely like hands down.
Wow.
It was just such a full circle moment, you know, to come back to where I started. So it was awesome.
That's awesome. What is your favorite thing about Duluth and about Grandma's Marathon and the weekend and everything here?
Just the people. Everyone's so friendly. Everyone's excited you're here. Like it's, you know, we're not Boston. We're not as big as Boston, but it is like marathon weekend.
Yeah.
It's a part of the culture here. Everyone's like, oh, it's Grandma's Marathon weekend. I'm going to be cheering here. I'm going to be handing out water here. So many volunteers. Like I grew up volunteering as well. So it's just a huge part of the community and the culture of the city.
Awesome. Very cool. So when this airs, it will be your 47th birthday.
Yes.
Out of those birthdays, what is the best birthday memory that you have? It doesn't even have to be running related.
I don't know. My birthday when I was a kid was always really special, but when I was older, it was always like during European racing season. So I was always like traveling. So I think I really cherish the birthdays now when I'm with my family.
Yeah.
I've been in Minnesota for like probably the last 4 or 5 years for my birthday, which has been really fun. We come down here right here and go shopping and have dinner down here. So I think just plain easy breezy birthdays are awesome now.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So 47, looking back at 27-year-old Kara, what would be your advice for her running and otherwise?
Yeah, when I was 27, I was just starting to kind of catch my stride as a pro. I spent a lot of years, 4 years, as my first 4 years as a pro injured. I'm giving her advice. I'm telling her to basically do what I did. I'm going to tell her to trust her gut, trust her instinct, know that she knows when something's off, but also to believe in herself. And yeah, I think, and I would also just be like, get ready. You're up for like the biggest roller coaster of your life, because I didn't make my first Olympic team until I was 29. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I like stories like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's, and I think everybody likes to hear stories like that. And at 27, would you have thought in 20 years running would still be such a huge part of your life?
No, I always thought like as soon as I can't run fast anymore, I can't make a team, I'm done. And I'm shocked that I'm still involved in running. I'm shocked. Like I talk about running for a living.
Yeah.
And then I still run. Like even though I have some physical ailments, I run almost every day.
Yeah.
And I never thought I thought I would run just because I loved the art of running and like, you know, the whole like process of running. But I never thought I would like ever race when I wasn't fast. I didn't think I would have anything to do with the sport on an elite level. No, I thought I would like just disappear and run on my own and find some other job.
That's awesome that did not happen.
Yeah,
that's very cool. And as somebody who has been running since the age of 6, what still gets you excited about running?
I love the way it makes me feel. And I started running with my grandpa, and he passed away in 2020, but he wasn't a racer. He just loved running and the way it made him feel. And that was my introduction to running. It wasn't about racing. It was about like how it made you feel. Like we'd run down to the Minuet and he'd buy me a pop or whatever.
Yeah.
And pop. He would usually pick Pepsi or Mountain Dew, but it was never about being fast. And then later on I found out I was fast. And so then I had a whole career chasing those big goals. But I think because it started from that space of just how it makes me feel, I've been able to get back to that place. I just love the way I feel after I've run. I love it. Yeah.
That's great. And do you think in another 20 or another 47 years, if you're still out here, do you think you will still be in the world of running?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope this is like been a whole new world, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like the ability to just talk about running and geek out on running and get paid to do that.
Yeah.
And I love it so much and I feel so lucky. And like today I lined up and ran the 5K and I had a horrible day. I felt really bad, but I had the best time.
Yeah.
So I hope that I'm still like pushing myself and going out there and hopping in the races and and just immersing myself in the culture.
Yeah. That's my goal as well, is to be in that, and obviously I'm not at the elite level and I never will be, but
who knows, you're getting there.
You're getting there. Oh yeah. But you know, I definitely I love seeing the people. You go out to races and you'll see people that are 80 or 90 years old that are, especially at the 5K, like you'll see people like that. So I love that. As far as races go that you did not PR and you did not make the podium, what is your favorite race memory?
Oh God, that's a good question.
Yeah, because I know that the ones that stand out and the ones that people ask you about are like the trials and all that stuff.
I think about like World Cross Country. I ran it in 2006 and I didn't make the team. Like the top 6 made it and I got 7th. And then I got to go because Lauren Fleshman got injured. and I placed, I want to say like 21st or 22nd. And so I was nowhere near the front, but I was like sniffed what elite running was like. I got to wear a USA kit, you know?
Yeah.
And that was a huge shift for me of just like, oh, I belong here. I could do this.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite race because I just really shifted the way I thought about myself after that.
So is that the first moment that you realized that you really could go all the way?
Yeah, I mean, I always had dreams. I had dreams of going to the Olympics since I was a kid, honestly, like I really did. But that was the first time I was like, oh, I'm living it. Like I have my outfit, you know. I was second for Team USA that day. I was like, wow, I mean, if I could translate this to the track, I actually would have a shot.
Yeah.
So that was when I was like, oh, the dreams aren't crazy.
Yeah.
Like it might actually happen.
And you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
and it worked out. Now we talk about history on this podcast, and when you were planning the Save the 10,000 race last month, you talked about the 1968 Billy Mills 10,000 as being one iconic race that everybody should watch the footage and read about that. Besides that race, what would be another historic race moment that stands out to you as especially significant?
I mean, the 92 Olympics was the second year that the women ran the 10,000, and that race had a huge impact on me because Lynn Jennings won the bronze. And I think it was just a big moment for U.S. distance running and also for women. Like they legitimized that they could run this event and that they could do well at it. So I think that's a really awesome race to look back at. For me, that one just stands out because it just impacted me.
Yeah, and she was a runner that you admired.
Yeah, I admired her for a long time. She won World Cross Country 3 times. I admired her so much, in fact, that my coach wrote a fake letter to me from her. And then
you still have it?
No, but I believe it was real. We hung it in our locker room. She wrote it to our team. And years later, I found out it was fake. And then I actually met her. And I was like, so I'm this is how obsessed with you I am. But she was just a huge icon to me. Just mixing it up on the world stage, and she was awesome.
And then you eventually raced her.
I never raced her.
No, you didn't.
No,
okay.
But she did sort of mentor me a little bit from behind. You know, she doesn't really like to be public.
Yeah.
She was really encouraging and would give me advice, and that was really special to me. Yeah.
That's very cool. And I know you talk about this some in your book, but how has your outlook changed about running since you've become a mom?
You know, I just want it to, you know, I want running to stay pure for people. I want people to have the opportunity to run. You know, my son ran a little here and there when he was little, and now he's going to be a freshman.
Yeah.
He's definitely starting to get more into it. And I just want to protect it for him. Like, I want him to have a chance to succeed. I want him, you know, who knows how good he is, but I want him to be able to have that opportunity that I had.
Yeah.
You know, like I love my hometown so much.
Yeah.
But it showed me the world. And I just want that for him. I want it to be clean. I want it to be pure. Who knows if it is, but and then I just want him to be able to experience it and other kids. I mean, I don't know if you saw the 5K today, but I got beat by 2 girls that I think were like 10. So
that's
cool.
Is looking good. That's cool. That's very cool.
I just want it protected.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And for it to be welcoming to anyone, because you never know how it's going to change your life. You don't have to be elite for it to change your life. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's my story, because I've never won a race in my entire life, but I started at 7, and I think my dad did a good job of not getting it too fast too soon. I didn't even run my first full marathon until I was 30.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So there was a big space between the two. And I won't take up too much of your time, but as far as this is a destination race. Obviously, you don't live here. It's kind of a hometown race, but you don't live here. Yeah. But bucket list races that you would like to run at some point that you have not gotten a chance to yet?
That's a really good question. So I would love to run another marathon, period. I don't know if I'll ever be able to, but I never ran London or Chicago. So either one of those I'd like to. And then I would love to go run the Tokyo Marathon too, or the 5K. I mean, they have a 5K there. So I think, yeah, I'd love to do the majors, honestly. But more realistic for me is running the 5Ks, not the marathons. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much for meeting me and that. Wow. That was so much fun. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to like, love, adore, subscribe, follow, turn on alerts, comment, share, all of the above. And then tune in tomorrow as we head back to the 1920s to meet the most versatile Jamaican sprinter of all time. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and this has been Today in Running History. Do-do-do. This is the intro. Intro music goes here. The temporary tattoos with motivational sayings that I love to wear during races. Oh my God. During races. Oh God. Ooh. Let's start over with that part. Okay. Unafraid to stand up to what matters. No, my God. She stands up for what matters to her. God damn it. 3. Oh my God. 4. I forgot what number I was on. Damn it. Rather than setting on. I am so bad at talking. All right, here's the interview. Hey, Kara. Oh, hi, Hillary. You're my favorite runner too. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, let's be best friends forever. Okay, cool. All right, that was the